Sure.
Hey guys, so welcome to our Team Nailed It Girls Night. Tonight I am super stoked to hear from Renee Rice. She spoke to us. So Renee, you are a senior stylist, right?
Team leader.
Team leader. I know. I was wondering. I'm like, did she rank advance? Okay, my bad. She's a team leader, so that's awesome. And she spoke to us at the Utah Color Street event. And she did awesome. I loved it. It was fabulous. And so I asked her to kind of elaborate on that topic. And one of the main reasons I wanted her to speak, well, I loved her story. She has such a cool story. And then also I just loved that she has sort of made this work for her, even though like she doesn't work her business so much online, which I feel like is more what I do. So I wanted her to share the perspective of like, you know, doing a lot of things in person and locally and stuff like that. So I'm just going to turn the time over to her and have her take it away because we only have 40 minutes. So take it over, girlfriend.
Okay. So okay. Hopefully this goes how you're thinking, Kelly, because
you're fine.
I feel like I don't have great advice.
Okay.
So
that was fabulous.
Yeah, I'm super. Okay, well, we'll go with all of that. So if any of you were there at the Utah thing, I totally apologize because you're going to hear some of this again. But I kind of have like a weird background how I was raised. So I'm just going to tell you kind of so that you understand, because I was raised kind of like by gypsies, but not really. So I was born in Oregon, and then my parents we were there very briefly, and I did most of my childhood in Arizona. And when I was 11 years old, the company that my dad was working for was bought out by another company, and he was unemployed. So my dad's degree is in fine arts, and it's kind of hard to raise a family as an artist. So he did what any normal parent does, and he moved his family to Taiwan. So that's not normal. Anyway, so we moved to Taiwan when I was 11. So I was going into 6th grade. And my parents worked full-time there. So my sister and I were supposed to be doing homeschool, but we really didn't. We kind of just ate a lot of fried rice and bought a lot of trinkets and had a good time. And there was this family that was an American family. They lived in Taipei, which was about an hour and a half train ride from where we lived. And I, at 11, this is like crazy. If you have an 11-year-old, anyone who see how crazy this is, I used to go to the train station by myself, buy my own ticket, and then take the train to Taipei by myself. And then my parents or this family would pick me up, and then I would babysit for them overnight. They were like top executives of New Skin at the time. So, and then the next day, I would take the train home by myself and then get on a bus and get home. Like crazy. So I learned like really, really early on kind of self-reliance and how to kind of navigate on my own at a really early age. So after Taiwan, we moved back to the States, and we were in northern Idaho. And if anyone's ever been to northern Idaho, that's kind of like its own country as well. Kind of a different culture in northern Idaho, which I loved it, but it was different as well. And then my dad got a job with a different company, and we moved again internationally. This company knew that we had lived abroad, so they were like, oh, you'll be perfect at this job. So we moved to Ghana, West Africa. So I was 15 at the time and totally thrown into a different situation. My sister, she came with me. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So my other sister came with me. She was entering her senior year of high school, and I was entering my sophomore year of high school. And all of a sudden I was going to a private British school. My best friends were Italian and Israeli, and there were all these diplomat children, and like different cultures, different religions, different ethnicities that I instantly had to figure out how to relate to these people. Nobody was like me. To learn quickly how to talk to people that I didn't understand, talk to people that I necessarily didn't like, and kind of figure out how to have a common bond with these people that I did not get at all. So it was a good skill to learn early on. So then I graduated high school. I was 17 years old, and my parents put everything I owned into 2 suitcases, and which was easy because I had worn uniforms to school, so it wasn't like I had a lot of clothes. And I moved to Utah. My sister had been in college for a year, and I kind of depended on her. She put me in my first apartment and said, here you go. And I quickly had to kind of figure out how to adapt again into a different situation. And for those of you who know about Utah or are familiar with Utah, there's definitely a Utah culture here. And I couldn't figure it out. It took me a long time. I could not figure out why my roommates were running all the time. Like why are these people exercising like they are? Anyway, I don't like to exercise. I'm not like big into that. I do it now because I'm trying to be healthy, but it was like such a different world for me. So moving to Utah was kind of hard. But I really liked it. I love Utah. I never want to leave Utah now, but Utah was like an extreme move for me because I had been so many different places. So I had to, again, kind of figure out how to live with people I didn't really know or like, and how to talk to people that I didn't know or like, and figure out how to talk to people that were so really culturally different than me, because I had lived in so many different places, and I felt like people in Utah were a little bit, I don't mean this to be rude, but maybe a little bit naive and didn't understand a lot of like things outside of Utah. So I was really grateful for the experience I had had because it helped me kind of, I don't know, relate to people I didn't understand. So I ended up marrying a guy from Utah, and he had never lived anywhere else ever, had only been in Utah. So that was a huge difference for us. We were total polar opposites, which is good. Opposites attract and help each other. We have 4 kids. My kids are 11, 8, and then 2 5-year-olds. And so before I had kids, I really struggled with depression and kind of, not feeling like I fit in and everything, comparing myself to other people. And I really, really struggled with depression. And then when I had my kids, I was almost too busy. I couldn't really focus on myself. So I didn't really struggle with that while I was having kids, just because I was so busy. And then about a year ago, we were on a road trip, and I realized that I had about a year until my twins started kindergarten. And I had kind of like a panic moment in my life, trying to figure out, I was afraid of having depression come back into my life. So I told my husband, I need to find something to do for work or something that will keep me busy so that I don't fall back into this idle state of like get depressed or anything like that. So I started a bakery in my house, which I absolutely love, and I stay busy with it. But I wanted something else, and something that I have a back injury that I had from, this is like crazy, from a sledding accident. I have some back issues now because of that. But with my bakery, I can't stand up for many hours. So I've been I was looking for something else to do. And then I started seeing like these very vague posts on Facebook about Color Street. And everyone was posting these like really vague things. I'm sure you guys all remember them. And a friend of mine in college posted this really like vague thing, and I'm like, So I tried doing research on like the hashtags and like, oh, I will be smarter than them and I'll know what they're talking about. Well, there was no information out there. So I contacted my friend, Angela Stewart, who we had known each other at school, and she knew my husband before we got married and everything. And I messaged her and just said, what is this? And she emailed me back, kind of just this vague, like, I don't even remember what she said. Maybe she's on here, she can tell me, but she said something like, oh, it's this new product. It's going to launch soon. It's like fun and girly. Anyway, there was really no information out there. Oh, and she asked me if I would join. And I said, no, like flat out, no, I'm not interested in sales. I don't want to do that. And I said, I'm for sure not going to try something or join something that I can't even try. There's not even a product out there. Like, I'm not going to join that. So she just left me alone and I sat back and watched. And a couple weeks after it launched, well, it was like the week after it launched, I was friends with a couple other people that were doing Color Street. And I saw them with their kits and they were doing like their big reveals and like showing what it all was. And I was like floored because I had tried years before the Sally Hansen strips and I loved them. Like they were like my favorite thing ever. So when I saw what Color Street was, I was like, oh my gosh, like I love those. I already love those. I know what I love those. So I called Angela and I said, I might want to join. Will you just come over and do a party at my house? So she came over and I'm pretty sure I told her, but if not, the conversation happened in my head. But I was like, I wanted honest feedback and I wanted people that would tell me the truth and not sugarcoat it. And if anyone knows my family, we're pretty like straightforward. We don't sugarcoat a whole lot. So I knew my sisters and my mom and my nieces would be like really critical and really like opinionated. So I invited them over and I feel bad for Angela because she had to deal with all of us loud people. And we sat around this dinner table that I'm sitting around. We sat around and we're like, hey, show us what you got. And she passed out samples and it was like the funnest evening. It was like a therapy session. Angela was telling us about like her family and crazy in-laws, and we were telling her about our crazy in-laws and everything. And it was like the funnest night. And after she left, my sisters all said, like, Renee, you should totally do this. Like, this is right up your alley. This is something you'd be good at. And then my husband that night kept saying, you should totally join. Like, that was really great. Anyway, I was totally blown away and I was super excited. So I joined like just a couple of weeks after and okay, now what? Like, I don't know how to run a business. I've never done sales. I don't know anything about any of this. So I had a little bit of a panic moment. Because I really didn't know how to do anything. But the things I did know how to do, I knew how to talk to people and I knew how to make friends. So I kind of, from the very beginning, was like, this is going to be my focus. And this is going to be something that, like, I'm going to take the skills that I have and I can make it work. So really my motivation for starting, and I think it's really important to find what motivates you, because if you know why you're doing this, then it makes it so you can kind of zone in on that. Because if you're just doing this and like, no, it's going to be harder to be focused. So find your motivation. And my motivation was, one, I really loved the product and I wanted the product for myself. But I really, really, because I had suffered and dealt with depression in my life, I really wanted something that would keep my mind active and tasks at hand. And I wanted something that was a social outlet. Like, those were some things that were super important to me. So I was not motivated by like big paycheck or anything like that. I wanted to connect with people, and I really wanted something that would occupy my mind, because I like to be busy. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a crazy planner. So I really, really like that. So I really kind of pulled from those skills that I had learned early on in my childhood with kind of self-reliance and social navigation, kind of to be what has shaped me in the way that I do business. So I do a lot of booths. I do home parties, like in-home parties. I way prefer in-home parties to Facebook parties. I do Facebook parties, but I love a good in-home party. Let's see, well, we'll talk about these. So the things that I do. So I think that something that's really important, and these things, I'm sure everybody has heard of all of these are not revolutionary or new ideas, but sometimes it's a good reminder just to hear and maybe refocus what you're doing. But I think enough cannot be said about the value of a handwritten note. So I just picked up, and every time I go to Target, which I try not to go because then I spend like $400, but I always pick up these little notes that are in like the dollar section, and they come in. They're my favorite one. I just ran out of them. Was this one that had like a taco and it said, "Let's taco about it." It was so funny. Anyway, but I just pick up these little notes, and every time I send out a sample, I pretty much write the exact same thing, but it's a handwritten note from me, and it says, "Here's your sample of color streak that you requested." I always include an alcohol wipe, and it says, "Clean your nails with the alcohol wipe, then follow the instructions on my card," which this is my card, and I have the instructions on the back. So follow the instructions on my card. They're super fun and easy. And then I always say, "Let me know if you have any questions, Renee." That's it. Like, it's not anything like long or elaborate. It's short and sweet and to the point, and it's just in this little card, and I just include alcohol wipe, a sample, and a card, and I mail it. And I think, though, the most important thing, and everybody has heard this, I always follow up within 2 weeks of sending it out. So I just have a Excel spreadsheet that I keep all of my information from my Google Doc, and it says the best way to contact them. So I send it out, and I know when I've sent it out because it's on my Google Doc. And then within 2 weeks, in that period, I usually do it a week to 2 weeks. So in that week time, I will just send out either like a text or a thing on Messenger or something that just says, it's brief, like, "Hey, did you get your sample? Have you had a chance to try it on? I'm dying to know how you liked it." Just something like super brief. And 90% of the time, they message me back and say, "Oh, I haven't had a chance to do it yet." And I always think, why not? Like, you've had all this time, and it takes 30 seconds. Kelly's doing her nails right now. It's so easy. So and then I'll just say, "Okay, well, get a chance, when you get a chance to do it, because I'd love to see a picture, or I'd love for you to post a picture on my Facebook group." And then usually they'll do it and they'll message me back, or I don't hear from them. But either way, I think the follow-up is really important. One of the girls that's on my team, I think I had to follow up with her 3 times just to get her to try a sample. And now, we do everything together, and we have a blast. So I can't say enough about follow-up, and I'm not the best at it, but it's something that I feel like is so important. So handwritten notes, and then follow up with whatever method they say to contact them.
Can I add to that?
Okay, so then the other thing that I do, yeah.
So I'm such a nerd with I have certain days that kind of tell me what to do based on the day. So Thursday, thank you Thursday. And so you can write cards or even just post in your Facebook group or your Facebook party, a thank you to whoever's ordered that week. So I think that's a great day to do your thank yous. And then Friday is follow-up Friday, where you follow up with your customers or people you send out samples to, or people who said they're interested in being a stylist, or your new stylists. Anyway, that's really helped me, 'cause sometimes I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing today? And then I'm like, oh, it's Thursday, like it's Thank You Thursday, you know, or it's Follow Up Friday. So had to share those little tips.
Yeah, you know, I do the exact same things. I do the same. In fact, you and I must think alike because I do the same. I have to have like a word to remind me what day of the week it is. So, you know, like Manny Monday, Tuesday, Tuesdays, Wacky Wednesday, Thankful Thursday, you know, Follow Up Friday. I do all of those too. So it's the only way I can keep my life organized. So
Yeah.
anyway, in fact, yesterday I posted Wacky Wednesday on a Tuesday and all these people were like, what are you doing? I don't know what day of the week it is. I've lost track.
And Renee.
I know. I'm like, it's definitely Wacky Wednesday on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So anyway.
What do you do
yeah.
Wednesday? Now we want to know.
I do. So on my Facebook group, and yeah, we'll just jump ahead to this because I try not to take life too seriously. I'm a pretty lighthearted person. So my Facebook group is mostly just like funny GIF posts. I can't get enough of them. I think they're so funny, and I try to keep it really lighthearted. And I almost feel like I want people to get to know me, like I'm a reality star or something. And every once in a while, they can hear about nails. So yeah. In fact, I love it when I meet people. It's happened to me at the grocery store. Someone walked up to me and they're like, "Oh, it's so embarrassing." Like super light and like so fun. And I try not to make it like an infomercial. I don't want ever people to feel like all I care about is your credit card. Just give me your credit card. Like that is not what I'm about. I want people to be my friend. And I want people to feel like comfortable to talk to me or to have questions or whatever. And so for me, it's like super duper important to comment on everybody's comments. So that's something that I really try hard to do. And in fact, with the new Facebook algorithms, the more conversation you can have inside posts, the better your posts will be. So if you have a post and then someone starts commenting and you comment and then they comment and you're having like a sub conversation, the more people will see your page. So it's important for me, and not just because of algorithms, but like I genuinely I love the conversation that goes back and forth. So for me, it's a huge social outlet. But I feel like my whole life is like cooking and laundry and like everything that's kind of that we have in our lives. And so those like funny GIF posts and like funny like fill in the blanks and things like that, I like them. I think they're hilarious and people really respond well to them. So I get a lot of people like interacting on my group. And I think a huge part of it is because I'm not too serious. I don't take myself too seriously. So on Wacky Wednesdays, we always do like a GIF for like the ugliest manicure you can find, or
that's cute. I like that.
So we do a lot of Wacky Wednesdays, sometimes on Tuesdays. The other thing that I do quite a bit of is booths. I love vendor events. I do them with Sarah, who's on my team, and booths are awesome. You never know who you're going to meet at a booth. So like, I got a text just yesterday from some girl that said, I met you over the weekend at the booth. I want information on joining. Like, I have no idea who she is. I don't remember her at all. I don't remember having a conversation with someone about it, but you can make such a huge impact in person when you talk to somebody. And I talk to everyone. It's kind of crazy because there are a lot of times when people will be walking by and I will think that person's not interested. There's no way they're going to buy. They're not the type of person. And I will just start talking to them like, hey, cute purse, or, you know, your scarf is so pretty or whatever. And then they come over and they end up buying like a lot. So never assume who is going to be interested, because you will lose out on a lot of sales if you automatically assume like that person's interested and that person isn't. Just talk to everybody. I talk to everybody. It kind of drives my husband crazy because I am one of those people that, like at Sam's Club, I'm talking to the lady in line with me. So I am just a super social person. So it's easy for me to talk to people. The other thing with booths, I learned this doing different booths, if you have a basket out of samples and people walk by and you say, hey, have you heard of Color Street? Feel free to take a sample. They will take one and leave and throw it in the garbage. They will not use it. So if you're going to do booths, make sure that you are engaging with everyone and putting samples on everyone, because if you can get a sample on them, they will most likely buy. So do not just waste your money by handing out samples. The other thing that I think is so important, and Glenn talked about this at our Salt Lake meeting, if you're giving out a sample, you better get some information from them, because don't ever give anything away for free. And so at booths, we do a raffle every time we have a raffle. And so if they're saying, no, I'm not really interested, say, oh, we're giving away a free set. Do you want to fill out that information? Then you have their information and you can follow up with them later, or however you want to handle your contacts. But I feel like it is important. Get that information, follow up with them, get a sample on them, and just talk with everyone. Like, there's always something to talk about with everybody, I find, but I can talk to everybody. So, but there's always something, compliment people, whatever. So important. So another thing I do for my customers that maybe is a little bit unique is I do bulk orders. And I've seen a few people post about bulk orders, but I absolutely love to do bulk orders. So I usually once a week will put in a bulk order, and I advertise on my group that if they do a bulk order, they don't pay shipping. And that's just me. You guys can do however you want, but so I do once a week, and I put everybody's orders in. So I have a unique system that I do. I made these little thank you cards, and it just says thank you. Or get it closer. It has my name and my website and everything on them. So I take these when I do my bulk orders and people send them to me. The backside is blank. I'll show you one that I've written on. I write their name and their order and how much it costs and if they paid already. And then once I fill the order, I write a note on the bottom, just a quick thank you, like whatever. And then at Halloween time, I had cute Halloween bags, and now I have these cute, and I just get them at the dollar store. Like, they're nothing fancy. And like Halloween time, I've had plastic vampire teeth that I put in the bag. This month, I'm putting little mints in the bag now through December. But I get so many compliments on these little thank yous that I made. And I just ordered them at Vistaprint. It's not like they had the whole thing all done. I just had to fill in the information. So this is awesome.
Local people?
Yeah. So this is, well, I do it also, if they live out of state, I still use a card. I just put it in an envelope with their things. I only wrap them up if they live local. Okay. So, but this for me is like the best way to keep track, because I'll have a stack of these and they're in order, and they'll have their sets. And as soon as they're done, then I package them or I ship them. So I know if I have these sitting in my pile that they're incomplete and I'm waiting on sets. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's how I organize when I do bulk orders. I have this little filing system with my thank you cards. And then I pick, so like right now I have like 15 of these up in my office that I've gotten together over the last couple days. So then I just message all of those people and say, and I'm doing it tomorrow and on Monday, and I say, I'm going out to deliver orders from this time to this time. Will you be home? And I mean, rarely does someone say no. Pretty much everyone says, oh yeah, I'll be home. That's great, no problem, whatever. And I go around and I deliver. And delivering is my favorite thing. I absolutely love to deliver. So I'm a huge advocate of good customer service. Like, if a store has good customer service, I will shop there for the rest of my life. If they have terrible customer service, I will talk bad about them and never go back. And like, I hate bad customer service. So for me, I do this system and this delivery and everything because I feel like it's good customer service, and I like going out and visiting people. And I find that when I'm out there visiting with people, everyone wants to talk and has questions. They want to know about the product. They want to know like how to store them, what new styles are coming out. People have tons of questions. So I like going out because if you can talk to someone face to face, it's so much more effective than texting or on Messenger or things like that. So I highly recommend, if it is all possible in your schedule or with your clientele, to go out and talk to them face to face. I think it's so important for me. And I have super loyal customers because I do this. So most of my customers are busy moms and busy people, and they're less likely to buy if I just say, here's my site, go on and order. But if I'm doing the work for them and visiting with them and having that friendship with them, then they will order more and more. So hopefully that makes sense.
Can you share a little bit about your, like, what a bulk order, like, let's say you do a post in your VIP group. What wordage do you use?
I usually will just make like a picture on WordSwag that just says bulk ordering Monday at noon, or bulk ordering Monday, whatever, and just have that on there. And then I write just, hey, anyone who is interested in getting in on this bulk order, I'm putting it in. And remember, bulk ordering means no shipping for you. And that's pretty much it. And so, and I'll put a link to like my stuff, like look at the catalog, and if there's anything that's been like out of stock or that is just come out, I'll say like, hey, Tokyo Lights are back. Like, let's jump on it right now. So, yeah, it's pretty like straightforward and vague. And most of my group has been with me long enough that they know that's just kind of what I do. So, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you could almost pick like a day of the week, like another trigger. We need a B word. We need a
we need a B day of the week.
I know, right?
Yeah. Monday.
It's Monday. You have 5 minutes left. So
okay.
You have more you wanted to share, or should we open it up for questions?
I mean, I could really go on forever.
Okay. Why don't you continue? Here's what we'll do. Why don't you continue sharing more of your juicy tips? And then you could go live in Team Nailed It and answer questions. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. No one's going to have questions. They're all like, whatever, Renee's crazy.
No, we love you.
Okay, so
Andrea just said mass order Monday. Good job, Andrea.
Oh,
Okay.
See, this is why we do these things. Mass order Monday. I'm totally taking that. I'm stealing that right now.
It's also Manny Monday.
I know, right? Oh, okay. So there's a couple other things that I think are important, but and maybe people don't see this as building a relationship with your customers, but I think this is really important for building relationships with customers. And this is like a roundabout way, so follow me on this one. So I feel like it is super important to build good relationships with other stylists and in your community. And this is the reason why. So a couple of weeks ago on a Friday, there was a message in our Utah group that someone said they wanted some Halloween nails. That's what it was. And I had what she wanted. So I said, yeah, that's great. And she wanted to meet late at night. It was like 9 o'clock. So we met down, for me, it's down for her. It was up in Farm by Lagoon. And it was like a gas station parking lot. It was dark. And people probably thought we were doing like a drug deal or whatever. Like I handed her a few sets and she handed me a few sets. And then we started to talk, and I had never met her before. And it was like awesome. We had such a good time visiting in this dark parking lot, and it was great. So the next day I was at a booth in Farmington, and these two women came by, and I said, have you heard of Color Street? And they said, oh yeah, our friend actually sells it. And so we started talking. Have you tried your sample? No, it's really intimidating. And I said, no, it's not. Let me just show you really fast. So we put samples on them. And they were like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. We want to buy. And one of them said to me, I feel like I just can't buy from you because I'll be cheating on Stacy. And I said, oh, that's okay. Who is Stacy who? So they told me who it was. It was the girl I had met with just the night before. Like, it was such a coincidence. And so I was excited. And I'm like, I know her. We just met last night in this parking lot and blah, blah, blah. And we were talking. And okay, so these women were like super excited that I knew their friend Stacy. And I hopefully for Stacy, I don't know if you're watching, hopefully they bought from you and loved it. So the reason why this is kind of stuck with me is, first off, like, what image do your customers have of you? Like, are they thinking that you're their friend, or are they like, this crazy girl on Facebook sent me samples? So what kind of image are you portraying? Do they like you? But then we as stylists represent Color Street. And I feel like I don't ever want someone to walk away with a negative feeling or thought about Color Street. And I represent it. When I am at a booth, or I'm at someone's house doing a party, or I'm on Facebook, I represent it. And I want people to be like, she's so nice and I really like her. So Color Street must be awesome. And I want to know more information. The other thing is I just feel like because when we know each other and can say good things about each other, it makes it so people want to be around us. Happy people attract other happy people. And I just feel like that community and that relationship that we have is so important. And for me, it's important. And I hope for you guys, it is important, because we set the tone for other people. And so I just had to throw that in there. Yeah. I feel like it's really important that we're all positive and that we are friendly with each other.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we are going to be out of time in like 10 seconds. So you guys hop on. Team Nailed It. Renee's going to go live in there and she's going to answer our questions there. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I loved it. I got some great ideas, and it's just a good reminder to, build those relationships with your customers and like make that a priority. So, okay. So we'll see you guys over in Team Nailed It. Bye, you guys. Thanks, Renee.
Yep. You're welcome.